I'm Sabir Al-Islam, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and author of The World at Your Feet. So I thought, let me put this video together to help you to better utilize your monthly salary, especially when it comes to saving and investment. So I'll go through 6 important tips that you could utilize to help better manage your money and your monthly salary. Firstly is managing your essential payments. Now your essential payments, approximately 50 to 60% of your essential payments will go on your rent, your utilities, your groceries, your car insurance. So those elements will instantly be taken out from your monthly salary. So you need to learn to better budget and better manage. So the remaining 40% you're able to utilize on various important things. Secondly, I always encourage you to save at least 20% of your salary. Now, why is savings important? Now, I got to learn this very young. In fact, my dad gave me £50 when I was about 8 years old, and he told me to guard that with my life. He told me at that point, do not show your mother. Whatever happens, do not show your mother and guard it for the rest of your life. And I was so excited. So I went and showed my mother the first thing instantly, and I completely went against what he told me. And so he took that £50 away. And it made me very emotional at that point in time. And I got to learn from that moment onwards that to guard money from a young age is so important. So my mother started giving me little amounts here and there to save up. And from the age of 8, I learned to save. And I got to learn the importance of saving because it helped me build a pot, build a backbone financially over the course of over the next 15-20 years that helped me establish myself. So these are very, very important things. So when you're saving aside 20% of your salary, you're putting aside for the future. Number 3, I always say have an emergency fund. Not many people are attempting to do this in the modern era, and I cannot emphasize how important this is. You just don't know when you're going to be hit by a certain form of bad luck. You lose your job, you are financially not stable at a certain point because of certain things that happen in your life. So you need to have or work towards building an emergency fund. Now, I'm not saying you need to set aside 6 months worth of salary in one go. I mean, save towards that. So if an occurrence or a negative thing does impact your working life and the amount you earn, at least you know you have a backup to be able to rebuild yourself. Have you ever thought about investing in tax-free ISAs? Now, what are they? So these are investment savings accounts. So rather than just putting money aside into a bank account and letting it just float and stay static for a period of time, just gaining sort of interest of 4 or 5% annually, it's not really giving you a huge amount in return. Whereas investment savings accounts help you sort of have your either a cash savings account, or you could have a stocks and shares savings account. So a stocks and shares savings account really does elevate your portfolio in terms of you could invest in stocks, whether it's some of the largest companies in the world, or what I like to sort of invest in is funds. So these are ready-made portfolios that are built up that are likely to give you better returns. And so some of the funds that I invest in, whether this is the S&P 500, whether this is the FTSE 100, whether these are a collection of tech companies, they give me a certain return. So for example, the tech fund that I invest in typically would give me around 15 to 20% return on my investment annually. So this goes to show that having cash just static in a bank account earning 4 or 5% annually, is that the best way and the smartest way? Perhaps not. But you have to be careful that, yes, I know share prices and stock values and fund values go up and down. It's about taking precautions when you are investing your money, because it will go up and down. But because you're thinking the long game here, you're not, the money you're going to put in, you're not going to withdraw immediately. You're thinking 10, 15, 20 years perhaps, the fund and will always grow. So it's looking at that mindset and looking at that mentality, which is why you go into tax-free ISAs. And it's highly recommended, especially if you're looking to grow your portfolio. Next, I say build a pension pot. Now, employers will automatically enroll you into a pension scheme here in the UK. If you do opt out of it, I highly encourage you opt back in, especially because the amount they're contributing varies from employer to employer. But if you're able to match, or if they're able to match you, or you're able to match them, either way, you're growing your pension pot. So why is it important? By the time you hit 67, 68 and you're looking for retirement and you have nothing in your account, in your pension, that is going to hit you because the state pension is not significant enough to be able to run you. So if your monthly salary is contributing 6%, 7% towards your pension, the employer will give you either they will match you or they will go slightly higher depending on which employer you have. And so roughly 20% of your monthly salary will go towards your pension. And so that's a huge amount of free money that's pretty much going into your pension pot and building over the months, over annually, and that really does help sort of build a substantial amount by the time you reach retirement age. So it's an important thing not to sort of skip and not to overlook, even if that means sort of sacrificing 100, 150 pounds, 200 pounds here or there every month, because it's contributing towards your pension. So you have to think the long game here. Finally, and this is something a lot of people often overlook, is the unexpected costs. So I always say have a month's worth of savings put aside, especially for those unexpected costs. So this could be house maintenance, this could be your boiler needs repairing, or something's really sort of pops up that you weren't expected or didn't budget for. And so when you have this fund available, it just really helps you sort of dive in and fix that problem. But once you do decide to spend from that 1 month fund, then you're able to it's important that you build back that fund back up, so you're not sort of just letting it sort of slide away and you sort of have to rebuild from scratch. So it's important, have that 1 month of emergency money set aside, so that you're able to sort of utilize that. So hopefully you found this useful in terms of how you can better utilize your monthly salary, because we always want to make sure that our money isn't just going on splashing on things that are unnecessary. Yes, it goes on our essential costs, our essential bills, but learn to sort of invest in tax-free ISAs, learn to save, because you don't want to think just now, you want to also think the long game as well. The more you're able to sort of work your way up and invest more and more into different sorts of funds, build your own pension pot, have sort of emergency funds available, you are preparing yourself for the future, so you're not sort of impacting or sort of affecting yourself too much at this particular point in time, especially when an emergency hits. So always remember to use your salary wisely and to invest as and when possible.